Hi guys, and welcome to vSoldier.com, or should that be welcome back if you're one of my 13 subscribers. Thanks to each and every one of you, I appreciate it. You're listening as always to vSoldier, and after a 2-week vacation, pennies from heaven, after a 2-week vacation from Euro Truck Simulator 2 so I could take care of some real life stuff, I'm back in the hot seat and ready to get back talking about the different strategies you can deploy and utilize as you build your virtual trucking empire. The gameplay we're watching is a trip north I made coming in from Europe. I came in off a ferry into into Dover, beg your pardon, and got that one wrong, and now I'm just running north M25, A1, etc, etc, on my way up to Grimsby, sunny Grimsby, with a load of 22 tons of ammunition. I'm not sure if Grimsby knows something that the rest of us don't know, but they seem to be stocking up. So yeah, so I'm not too far away, so I thought I'd just grab a couple of minutes and pick up on the strategy series which I've been putting together over the last couple of weeks. To date we've looked at which truck to buy first, why to buy that truck specifically, why you should avoid as much as possible empty running, and we also looked at refueling strategies. As was pointed out in an earlier video, fueling up in the UK for instance, you can pay as much as £1.27 a litre. Yet, for a little bit of planning, if you buy that same litre of diesel in Luxembourg or in Poland, it's costing you only 94 pence a litre. So £1.27 in the UK, 94 pence in Luxembourg. Now, all of my trucks to date, of which I got, that coach is having it, the coach is going to have it. So yeah, so we got about 9 or 10 trucks on the road at the moment, and they've all got these huge 1400 litre diesel tanks. Here it comes. Oh, get out the way. Yeah, so they've all got these 1400 litre diesel tanks which serve two purposes. One, the driver doesn't have to stop nearly as often to fuel up, which is a no-brainer, and two, we can take advantage of being able to carry out the majority of our work using this cheaper diesel. So it's a win-win situation. Having the big tanks really helps. If you're interested to know a bit more about that, let's check out some numbers. So the truck carries 1400 litres of diesel from dead empty, and if that's costing us £1.27 a litre, to fuel it up from dead empty is costing us all up £1,778. Now, if we take the same truck and go and fuel it in Luxembourg at 96 pence a litre, that same 1400 litres from dead empty has only cost you 1344. So from 1778 down to 1344, which is a saving of £434. Nearly 500 quid. So that's on one truck every time it fuels up from dead empty. So if your truck's fueled twice a week and you've got 10 of them, that's almost 10 grand a week saved in unnecessary fuel expenditure just for some careful planning of your fuel stops. And once you move away from operating a single truck and you start buying more trucks, employing more drivers, these are the things which can make a massive difference to your bottom line. So it's really worth keeping an eye on it and being aware of it from the start. Speaking of earnings, bringing us right smack bang up to date, today's strategies guide has a direct link to earnings, to buying trucks, and the whole expansion thing. We're going to discuss 3 little words which can give you a massive advantage if you take heed of them from the outset. 3 little words. What are they? Location, location, location. Now, if like me you're an old romantic who sets up his first garage in his hometown, chances are, just like me, you made the classic noob mistake of placing yourself out on a limb. Actually, I've outdid myself and placed myself on 2 limbs, and I'll explain about that a bit later. But when it comes time to consider employing drivers, there are some things you need to take into account, like where your garage is located, for instance. First time a driver comes and drives for you, he or she can seldom drive further than 250 kilometers, as they're invariably inexperienced, and this causes problems sometimes with finding return loads for your expanding fleet, which can lead to a lot of empty running as your less experienced drivers run home empty a few times a week. Get used to it, it's going to happen, it really does. However, it's possible to minimize this as much as possible by positioning yourself, or rather your garage, as central on the map as possible. So you want as much stuff around you as you possibly can. And I keep mentioning Luxembourg, and Luxembourg again shines as a possible garage location, as it's like super central, not too far from Brussels, not too far from Paris, not too far from Geneva, and it makes Luxembourg really look like a good place to put your first garage, because it comes with cheap diesel too, so what's not to like about it? So have a think about your location, bearing in mind your drivers are limited in what they can do at the start, and minimise empty running as much as you possibly can. So how did I place myself on 2 limbs? So I placed my first garage in my hometown, like the old romantic that I mentioned earlier on. My hometown's Cardiff, which is like right over on the western extremity of the map. I then opened up my second garage in Szczecin in Poland, which is right over on the eastern extremity of the map. And if you take a look at both locations, Cardiff on one side, Szczecin on the other, you'll notice they each only have work available on one side of them, because they're at the end of the map. So straight away that's cutting the amount of work that you're going to have available to you. Oh, red light. That's cutting the amount of work you have available to you by 50%. So it's a bad move. It really is a bad move, and ultimately, because my drivers were having to return empty sometimes, it's ended up costing me money. Thankfully, as the drivers get more experienced and are able to travel further, and you train them up, etc, etc, this becomes less critical. But if you get it wrong from the start, it can take a long time to build up any money, especially so if your trucks spend half the week running empty, which is never a good thing. Now I've come in here, and initially I came off the route planner because I'd seen there was a question mark here, so there's clearly something for me to discover, and that was a Iveco truck garage. So I've gone a little bit out of my way, I've discovered something in the meantime, and now I'm just looping back round again to get to the place where we're tipping out. Sunny Grimsby, is a lovely day. Gonna have to readjust my sat nav. Makes it all so much more accurate when you scale right in. Just around the corner. These cars are going to do you no favours at all. Oh, get out of the way. Cross the solid white line to swing in through the gateway, but the cars won't stop. I'm coming through. And here we are. Now before I go anywhere, all those tankers that are standing there have to be loaded and ready to go somewhere. So my first job is always going to be when I leave a place, is check what work they have available. And that saves me driving around the countryside looking for trailers coming out of other places. I mean, if I can pick up a load out of the place I'm delivering at, it makes perfect sense to me. So, back this one in your own time, driver. I had a bit of a cock up with this as it goes. I don't know if like me you use a mouse and the keyboard to drive the truck. But sometimes I get like dyslexia in my fingers or something and they just forget which button they're meant to be pressing, and this was one such case. I went straight through the back of it. There we are, and without further ado, let's get that trailer off. Excellent job. Thanks as always for watching. Join us next time.